You know, now that I've lived in a rogue state for the last 6.5 months, I have to say, I don't care for it. I'm kidding, of course. Even under the, I would say laughably, if only it weren't so fucking terrifying, leadership of Donald Trump, the United States is not a rogue state, if for no other reason than the United States is the one who gets to decide who is a rogue state and who isn't. It's good to be number one! EDM is the most patriotic music and everybody knows it. Anyway, if Trump were the leader of any other country, we would probably consider that country to be a rogue state. Trump is erratic, authoritarian, brazenly dishonest, recklessly aggressive, indifferent at best, and hostile at worst toward concepts like human rights, international relations, separation of powers, the rule of law, and he seems far more concerned with asserting his own strength and superiority than with anything else, including the welfare of people living in his own country and everywhere else. The latest and most panic-inducing example of this is the North Korea situation, where Trump apparently believes that the best way to de-escalate a state of affairs that could potentially result in a nuclear exchange is to act like even more of a swaggering, obnoxious prick than the dictator of North Korea. For most people, this would represent something of a challenge, but it's the way Trump approaches everybody. Make demands, threaten terrible consequences if your demands aren't met, and then, if that fails to yield immediate results, follow it up with more demands and still more dire threats. This sort of behavior would be thuggish and inexcusable coming from a head of state no matter what, but it's made even worse by the fact that Trump is not merely a thug, but a thin-skinned, compulsively lying thug. Last week, Trump warned that aggression against the United States by North Korea would be met with, quote, fire and fury like the world has never seen. The day after he said that, he tweeted, quote, "My first order as president was to renovate and modernize our nuclear arsenal. It is now far stronger and more powerful than ever before." That tweet, and I know this will shock some of you, so make sure you're sitting down, was a lie. According to PolitiFact, Trump did issue a memo directing the Secretary of Defense to undertake a nuclear posture review, but that wasn't until a week after he assumed office. It wasn't his first order as president, or even close to being his first order as president. But let's chalk that up to the fact that Trump never actually means anything he says, and get to the more interesting part. What is a nuclear posture review? According to the Defense Department's old website, still accessible via the Wayback Machine at the Internet Archive, the Nuclear Posture Review was chartered in October 1993 to determine what the role of nuclear weapons in U.S. security strategy should be. The Nuclear Posture Review isn't about modernizing or renovating our nuclear arsenal. It's a strategic review. What role does the nuclear arsenal play in our overall defense strategy? What adjustments may have to be made to that overall strategy due to the reduction of our nuclear arsenal? Yeah, because our nuclear arsenal has been shrinking for the past few decades, and despite what our dipshit warmonger president thinks, that's a good thing. This past spring, the U.S. Air Force downsized its cache of nuclear missiles to the lowest level since the 1950s. Russia has also been gradually reducing the size of its nuclear arsenal since the first START treaty was signed in 1991. So Trump's boast that the American nuclear arsenal is now stronger and more powerful than ever before is false, and if it were true, would potentially be a violation of one of the most celebrated and significant international treaties to be ratified since the end of the Second World War. But there's one more thing about the Nuclear Posture Review that you might find interesting. According to the current Defense Department webpage dedicated to the subject, the Nuclear Posture Review is a legislatively mandated review that establishes U.S. nuclear policy, strategy, capabilities, and force posture for the next 5 to 10 years. Trump likes to make everything sound like it was his idea or carried out on his personal authority. But since it was established in 1993, the Nuclear Posture Review has been conducted 3 times, once each by Presidents Clinton, Bush, and Obama. Trump wasn't taking some bold, unprecedented step to address our sadly neglected nuclear arsenal. He was performing a legally mandated duty of his office, just the same as his 3 most recent predecessors did. And even if Trump had ordered the Defense Department to beef up the nuclear arsenal to make it stronger and more powerful than ever before, he's only been president since January. I know, it seems like a lot longer, doesn't it? That's not nearly enough time to accomplish the kind of improvements that Trump seems to be referring to in his thoughtless, inarticulate tweet. Which is not to say the Defense Department isn't working on upgrading the United States' nuclear arsenal. It definitely is. There is a project currently underway to modernize facilities where nuclear weapons are stored and to refurbish launch systems both on land and aboard nuclear submarines. This project began in 2013 under President Obama and will continue at least into the mid-2020s. So Trump didn't order the Defense Department to do anything and wouldn't have had to do eventually anyway, and even if he had, today we still have the exact same nuclear arsenal that we had the day Trump took office. He's a liar. A pathetic, transparent liar who has more in common with Kim Jong-un than he has with Barack Obama, or George W. Bush, or Bill Clinton, or Hillary Clinton. Hey, can you imagine if she had responded to a North Korean missile test by making grandiose threats and tweeting demonstrable lies about the state of the American nuclear arsenal? Neither can I. Hey folks, hope you enjoyed this one. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe. And also please consider helping me to make more videos like this one by supporting this channel through Patreon. You can go to patreon.com/Steve Shives to become a patron of this channel. Thanks for watching.